Good morning, everybody. It's I don't know, about 7:15 in the morning, and I've been up since probably about 4:30 trying to figure all this stuff out as far as us trying to get together and create our own little photo community. And I had put out a video yesterday, so if you guys didn't watch that, it is basically kind of discussing whether or not, or where we should go and what we should do. So I do have a couple of theories about what we ought to be doing. So after reading everyone's comments, there were a lot of people out there that were saying that they really like this service or that service, or they really shared all of their photographs on, this service or the other service and all that kind of stuff. And I get all that. The biggest problem is that not everyone necessarily wants to join a new service just because they want to be a part of a photo sharing group or whatever, right? And there are some really good ones out there. I mean, there is 500 Pixels, there's Flickr, there's a lot of other ones out there. And there's nothing wrong with any of those services. Here is my biggest hang up on all of those things. Some of them are very technical. Some of them require you to always look your very, very best, whereas some of the other ones are a little bit more casual, a little bit more fun-loving or whatever. And that's kind of what I want to focus on with this group in particular is, I don't necessarily want it to be about technical specs. So like Flickr is constantly, reporting what your EXIF data is, exactly what camera you used. And I really want to not be so overly consumed about what camera that person used, what lens that person used, what sort of settings that they used. I just really want us to try and focus on the image itself. Did you create a good image? And I don't care, for the most part, if you edited it, if it's a comp. All of us have a lot of different talents. We all have a lot of different ways we like to express ourselves. And the work should matter more than the gear that we used to capture that work, right? At least that's how I feel about it. And sometimes I like to comp. Sometimes I like to edit heavily. Sometimes I don't like to edit at all. But at the end of the day, it should be about what we created, not necessarily the tools we used to create. We've got 101 different ways to talk about gear and reviews and all that kind of stuff. And I've been doing that for so long. We do it all the time. We talk about which lenses are the sharpest, which ones are the best for, our particular system, but we don't ever share. So that's kind of what I want us to maybe focus on this time. So, Instagram seems to be the most easygoing, the most fun, because it doesn't focus anywhere. And I've checked, I've even double checked. It doesn't display EXIF data, it doesn't display what kind of camera you used, what kind of lens you used, the settings, or anything. Now, if you wanted to share a photograph on Instagram and then list all those technical specs just in case, you think that your followers or the group might be interested in those kind of things, I say go for it. But if those things aren't necessarily important to you, like they're not necessarily important to me, then I say, just skip it. Don't include it in your description or whatever. Just tell us about, where you took it and why you took it and why it's important to you. Also, there is a thing, apparently, because Instagram, much like Facebook, has an algorithm. And because it doesn't give you all of your photographs in a chronological order, it tries to think and interpret, the algorithm tries to interpret what it thinks that you would like to see the most. Okay? I absolutely hate this algorithm. Everyone else hates this algorithm. I don't know why they insist on force-feeding content to people when I just want to see, if I followed a person, I want to see their content. And I would really hate for them to curate it to such an extent that I might miss something. So people have been trying to game the system. They've been trying to game Instagram and create what are called essentially Instagram pods. And pods are basically a way for a group of like-minded people, which I'm anticipating that we're all going to be, to basically share photographs with each other, and then all of us can comment, like, whatever we want to do on those photographs. And it also helps us to boost our ratings within Instagram. We want, more people to see our work, I'm assuming. And what we can do is, first of all, Instagram being an extremely easy service to sign up for, and an easy service to maintain. You can use it on a phone. You can at least browse and view the other photographs on a computer. But it is a much simpler way for everyone to be involved, and it's cross-platform. It can be found in both the App Store for iOS and the Google Play Store on Android. So no one has to be left out. I don't know if they make one for Windows phone or not. Who the hell uses a Windows phone anyway? I don't know. There'll be that one guy. I do. Okay, so anyway, so we'll do a pod. And we'll have a dedicated hashtag. And if down the road we decide that we want to do specific projects, like I mentioned yesterday, whether it be like macro photography, whether it be food photography, fashion photography, and videos are totally welcome too. I mean, I do a lot of video. Half my business revolves around doing videos. Obviously, I mean, I'm on YouTube damn near every day. So for those of us that like to use camera gear and create videos, you can also share your work with us. So the base hashtag is going to be hashtag PVS Photos. And if we decide to do a specific project within that realm, it can be PVS Photos _ whatever the project's going to be. So for instance, PVS Photos _ landscapes, whatever the case may be. And we can kind of go back and forth and decide which ones are best. And during each project or whatever, we'll share and get together in the pod, make sure that all of us go and check out each other's photographs, give each other encouragement. And really, Instagram is very photocentric. It's all about the photograph, not the technical specs. It's about community and the work. And that's what I think is most important. Now, it's not going to be high res. And of course, you can always share those photographs on other sites. And you can even put links in your description to the bigger, higher res photographs if you want. So if you're on 500 pixels, if you're on SmugMug, if you're on any of these other photo sharing services, you can put the links to the higher res photograph in the description and make sure that your work gets out there even more so. And on the primary platforms that you guys like to distribute your work. I think it's a pretty simple plan, and I'm always open to hearing what you guys think about this so far. So as far as the pod is concerned, I have an Instagram account, and it is Photo Video Show, obviously. So all I want you guys to do is, if you happen to be on Instagram and you want to be a part of the pod so that we can all talk, drop me a direct message, send me a message on there, and tell me, say, I want to be in the pod. And I will add you to a direct message so that all of us can see when someone else posts a new photograph. And all you do when you post a new photograph on Instagram is then send a message inside of that direct message that we're all going to be a part of and say, hey, posted one, come check it out. And then that way we get a direct notification and we can go, awesome, let's go check out, I don't know, Kevin's photographs or whatever. And we go and we check those things out, and we can support each other, help each other, because the more likes and comments, genuine comments, don't do emojis, don't half-ass it, don't do emojis or anything. And once you get real comments, real likes, and real engagement, more people will be able to see your work. And I think that that's what it's really all about. Is there is no point in being in any sort of visual creative media if people aren't putting their eyeballs on it. And Instagram is probably one of the most amazing places to be discovered, to have lots of interesting and artistic and creative people not only see your work, but maybe even engage in collabs. And there are so many times that I have gone, my God, like these people literally are working their asses off for a 1x1 image on Instagram, and they've got, hundreds of thousands, even millions of followers, and they really do some amazing work on there. I'm always blown away by the creativity of the human spirit. I mean, it really is just kind of mind-blowing. But that's essentially, in a nutshell, what I figured that would be best for all of us. Like I said, Instagram seems to be the easiest. It seems to be the most accessible to everyone. It doesn't focus on the gear. It doesn't focus on the specs. And it doesn't focus on the settings. It focuses on the work. And it's very easy to share because you can quite literally share Instagram posts almost anywhere. So I know that some people are going to be like, oh, this sucks or whatever. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to leave anyone out. I'm not trying to exclude anyone. I just figured that this would probably be the most accessible for the most people on the most platforms, and not be overly burdensome to anyone new just starting off that doesn't want to get bogged down in the technical specifications, the technical settings, or whatever. It's more about the work, not so much about those types of things. So if you want to be a part of the pod, send me a direct message on Instagram. I'm thephotovideoshow. Send me a direct message. Say, I want to be in the pod. I will add you to a direct message. And anytime any of us ever post a brand new photograph or whatever, make sure you post in there. Say, hey, just uploaded something. Come check it out. And everyone, do your part. Come together and comment on everyone else's work, and use the hashtag PVS photos. And if we do a very specific project, say if we start to do something, once a week or once a month or whatever the case may be, it'll have an underscore and then whatever that project be. So if it's fashion photography or landscape or whatever, make sure you put that after the hashtag PVS photos. So that's all I've got. I hope it really works out because us as a community, us as photographers, us as videographers, we really should support each other. I mean, honest to God, it's a very easy and simple way for people that would otherwise never get any attention. It's a very easy way for them to gain some exposure, get some feedback if you're into that kind of thing. And I really do think that that's a really easy way for us to give feedback to one another. It's super simple to just go, hey man, I took this photograph and I would like to ask you guys, what you guys think. So please leave your comments, in the comment section. Let me know what I could have done better, what you really like about it, what you dislike about it. If you're into that kind of thing. I'm not much of a photo critique person. I don't really like doing that, but I know some people really enjoy having the work critiqued. So there's just a multitude of possibilities. You can include your websites. You can include the link to higher res photographs. You could, link to other social media accounts where you maybe share more photographs. But at least we would have each other in this crazy, crazy social media driven, bite-sized world. So at any rate, guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, if you have any suggestions for me, the rest of us, any sort of feedback is totally appreciated, and I definitely want to thank everyone that has tried really, really hard to make this one of the best places to share our work and support each other. So that's all I've got this morning. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I can't wait to see you on Instagram. Peace!